since we're mystics, we have to, we should come to our senses really and recognize that what we're looking for is ourself, is our very being. It's not outside. And so every time you complain about the world, you should have a red flag come up, go, eh. And now shift the gaze and see, how can I change myself? Because even from a point of view of quality of life, anytime we create disturbing emotions, when we're disturbed with the world, anger, resentment, wish for retaliation, disappointment, jealousy, so on and so forth, anytime those arise, without question, we lose our strength and we lose our own peace and our quality of life goes down. So in that way, the path of forgiveness, if you want to call it that, it's a great blessing, and it must be a constant assignment for a mystic. A mystic wants to keep laying their burden down. I'm not saying you should condone anybody's behavior. I'm not saying you should trust someone who's untrustable. It has nothing to do with the other person. It's not about reconciliation with another person. It's a different subject, a good subject. But especially pointing the light on community. If you find yourself complaining a lot about the community, start questioning yourself. Question yourself. Make friends with the place in you that's angry or jealous. Find out where it is. It must come from some wound you're carrying. I'm not talking about the other person. Other person might be crazy. Happens. Some of us are crazy. To look inside. And I think the biggest, and I'll try to make this short, I don't want to talk all night, but I mean, I could talk for days on this subject, but it's very difficult to move from anger and resentment and retaliation to compassion. That's not an easy task. But if you meditate and recognize that everyone, let's look at ourselves. We make mistakes all the time. Why do we make mistakes? In one language we can explain it by saying our mistakes are based on our causes and conditions. Right, okay, we had some bad training, we didn't get enough sleep, so when we make the mistake, oftentimes we might excuse ourselves a little quicker than we'll excuse somebody else. It's just natural. But you can see, okay, I made that mistake because of this, and this. I was beaten as a child, I was, you follow me? Everyone's actions based on causes and conditions. I'll tell this story fast because too many of you have heard it. I'm on a plane going to Poland. I'm getting my first chance to teach in Poland. I'm very, good mood. Plane takes off. Woman behind me, I'll tell it quickly, starts yelling at me. Yelling, out of the blue. Anybody yell at you on the plane? Yelling at me. Don't put your seat back. My husband's very tall, but very unpleasant. And I feel kind of slimed. And I've been taught by my music guru, if you don't want the monkeys to disturb you, don't look toward them. So I don't, pay much attention. I go back to my own atmosphere, try to relax, because I just want to, work. I can take out my laptop, I can work, no one's going to phone me. And I think I negotiate with myself, and I put my seat back halfway. I think what do you mean don't put my seat back? I didn't set up the tilt on the seats, leave me alone. Anyway, I put my seat back halfway. She's sitting in the seat, second seat behind me, like that. She takes her left foot with her shoe on and puts her shoe in my face. That's pretty wild, isn't it? Has that happened to anybody else? Okay, so
Wow.
that was a good idea. I took her foot, I can remember grabbing her foot and just saying, please don't do that. And then, I just tried to disengage, went about my work. In a few minutes, the husband goes to the bathroom. I'm in the first seat in economy, so I got the best economy seat. He goes to the bathroom, he comes out. As he comes out, I'm looking out like, who is this guy, Very nice looking, well dressed, very clean, nice atmosphere. He purposely stumbles toward me and he leans in. And he says, I'm so sorry for my wife's behavior, but 2 members of our family have just been murdered.
No.
And we're going back to Virginia to help them. So, I right away, with affection, grab onto his arm, hold onto him, and I'm so sorry to hear about the tragedy, this terrible tragedy, and I hope that, you can bring some solace to your family and deal with your grief. And we bond, the tall guy behind me. And then she goes to the bathroom, because she wants to get out before he sits down, and she comes out, I don't even wait, I just stand up, face to face with the shoe lady. And I say to her, I'm so sorry for the tragedy in your family. And, as you would expect, just a river of sadness or grief just starts pouring out of her. We bond, and we sit down, and that was that. So, the point of the story, once I understood her causes and conditions of her, really not constructive behavior. If everybody who was having trouble in the world put their shoe in everybody else's face, we would not have a good time. But at the same time, as a mystic, if I can practice as a mystic, let me say before I'm a mystic, because that doesn't, since I understood the causes and conditions of her actions, it was not difficult to feel compassionate and let go of all the resentment. I felt kind of indignation, like, what kind of person are you? Who trained you? Those were my thoughts. So, but there it was. All of you changed too. Well, you heard that. Okay. So, every action by any being ever based on causes and conditions. Nothing left out. Without question, there is no way, unless you know the knower of the 3 times, as they call the karmapa, that you can know all the causes and conditions of the mistakes we make. But if you meditate deeply and recognize that, it will be a key tool for you to move from always thinking about the world, to going, beneficence. Let me send some energy your way for relief of your suffering. So, and I want to mention that really in the context of community, of precious community, of this beautiful, family with great variety that I feel is really growing, and I'm so happy to be here. And if I could live anywhere, I'd be happy to live in Boulder. What a great place to live. It's beautiful here. It's beautiful California. It's beautiful everywhere. And that reminds me of a Sufi story where the young man comes to the edge of the town and he meets the wise man there, and he says to the wise man, so I'm thinking of moving to this village. What are the people like? The wise man says, tell me what the people were like where you came from. You'll probably find those kind of people here. So there you have it, that's what I wanted to share tonight. But I'll be happy to take a question or two before we go back to the dance. Yes?
How does one stay in the moment and plan for the future at the same time?
Very good. Just like that.
Just like that.
Just like that, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. You know, in order to build a building, you have to have a foundation, then you put up it has an order to things. And so some of the things we're involved with take a great deal of planning, you know. So we arrange our plans, we aspire to what we want, and then we be relaxed with whatever's arising in our field. And we put our will and our concentration on something, and we stay focused on it, so that it has the best outcome it can have. And then everything that arises, we meet with a freshness and an equanimity. That's the way I know how. And so, you know, Hazrat Icon says something like, the wise person is resigned to the past, present in the moment, and hopeful for the future. And then there was another line I wanted to share with you too. I think you'll like this. Forgiveness is giving up the hope for a better past. Let's dance.